the national curve with the Saints Atlanta thing that people may think that we have not had some amazing times in New Orleans.
Love New Orleans. I absolutely love it. That's why I say, go ahead, have your parade. Because I can't imagine how mad I'd be watching the Super Bowl if I was y'all. Woo! They're going to be the lowest ratings ever in New Orleans for the Super Bowl.
They have the right laws to get over it in public, though. First name, John Elway. In response to Sean Payton asking the league to look into replay on pass interference, the Broncos president told Lindsey Jones of The Athletic, quote, "You can't replay every pass interference. It won't work," end quote. Are you with Mr. Elway?
Look, man, I'm in a difficult situation here because I heard what John Elway said, and I agree with it. And me and John Elway thinking the same thing means I'm probably wrong about some quarterback.
Not a great sign.
That normally forces me to reevaluate myself. But he is correct on this one. This is a call that is so based on the judgment of the game and everything else that if we get to a point of throwing flags and throwing this up to New York, because presumably that would be the person to settle this, would be somebody who happened to be in New York, who's not up on the field of that game or anything else, this will be so much worse than what happened here. What you saw there is one of the worst calls ever. That is such an outlier result. You don't change the whole system to prevent something that will literally probably never happen again.
So I want to be clear about something. John Elway is doing the work of the NFL here. I don't know if he's doing it inadvertently. You are doing the same thing. But I say that, Bo.
Did you excuse me of doing the work of the NFL?
Inadvertently.
You think you were just going to say that and then just move on, like, anyway?
Because inertia, Bomani Jones.
What the hell does inertia have to do with this?
Because inertia for the NFL is the right move because we're all going to get over this, right? The point is, if the NFL just stays under the bed that Mike Florio described and what John Elway and you and other reasonable people are saying, do nothing, they'll get over it. But if you are concerned with officiating justice, I do wonder, right? Is there a midway compromise? This all happened because people, fans in New Orleans, were able to draw a semi-straight line from that blown call to the consequence, the outcome of the game, the final outcome. Is this a thing you could see in the last 2 minutes as opposed to the entire game?
That's even worse idea to do it in the most high leverage of situations. You're assuming they're going to get it right. Well, that is the fundamental. No. The fundamental flaw in this is you're assuming that they're going to get it right. Of all the time that you have spent observing this league and the way it handles things, you're assuming that they're going to get it right. It sounds like a great idea for the time they get it right, but hell to pay for the time that they get it wrong. Again, on a judgment call. The same way you could probably call holding on every play, you could probably call pass interference on one side or the other on every play. So if we had an egregious hold that got missed, do you think anybody would be calling for replay? No, they would not. They only want it on this particular call, and I don't think that you can have these rules work efficiently by saying, damn, this one bad thing happened. Let's just make sure it doesn't. That is such systematic failure to operate like that.
But it is fascinating because this tension we're describing comes from the fact that this is not a league concerned with officiating accuracy, it's concerned with entertainment. Yeah. Maybe we should call those holds.
But the problem people need to get, you want them to get every call right, but pushing to make sure you get every call right will cause all kinds of disastrous things to happen on the way, and you called me a sellout.
I called you inert.
Oh, inert. I was about to say, I know you didn't call me no nerd. Cole Beasley is the next name. Yesterday, the free agent receiver went on Twitter to expose the real reason that he didn't get the ball as much as he wanted, writing, honestly, the front office pushes who they want to get the ball. I haven't been a huge priority in that regard. Maybe that will change, but I'm not sure. More balls come my way in 2-minute drill where nothing is planned. Pablo, you buy this?
I am not buying this because this is an unrestricted free agent who is 29 years old, who is also, to be clear, Cole Beasley. Like, this is not a surprising outcome for a Cole Beasley. It seems like he is trying to be first to market, though, with an explanation as to why the Cowboys might be all too happy to stop featuring him in their offense entirely.
Well, I think he does believe this, to be clear, right? Beyond simply being first to market, I think this is what he thinks, because I've talked to enough people in enough walks of life, sports and otherwise, where you ask him why it didn't work out for him somewhere, and the answer's always the same. Politics. It always goes back to politics. Now, I wonder if there's some other guys on the Cowboys who laugh at the idea that this guy is the one that the front office is rooting against, right? Because that would be the theory that he's propagating here, is that, no, they didn't want to give me the ball. Now, let's think about what just happened this year. They brought in Amari Cooper. If the front office had to tell them to throw the ball to Amari Cooper, their coaches are even dumber than we thought.
Oh, absolutely. The front office, is he interpreting the fact that they went out and traded for Amari Cooper and said, you're going to want to use the guy we traded a first rounder for? Is that what they did? Because all of this then becomes just silly. But if you are the Cowboys and Amari Cooper is your offense, it's worth noting that this guy still wound up being the second most targeted receiver this past year. And this is where my credulity is strained, because he said it's hard to make plays when you only get 3 or 4 looks a game. His looks went from 6 to 5 after Cooper arrived. He wasn't entirely phased out.
Well, the other part of it is, yes, it is hard to make plays when you don't get many looks. You also don't get a whole lot of looks if people don't think you're the type to make plays. You understand what I'm saying?
There's a chicken and egg.
Yeah. Like I don't get it.
But politics is also the claim of every struggle rapper, Bo. Does Cole Beasley qualify based on this video?
Why are y'all doing this to him? And how did I become the arbiter of this?
You're my co-host.
No, why don't you tell me if he's a struggle rapper?
It's like Bo thought I was gone, but I'm never leaving. I'm forever eating. Every season is heavy thieving, stealing everything that I can for the man.
Hey, no, I'm
stopping. I'm dead. I ain't got competition leaping off of a ledge, cause they sleeping at first sight like they sleepwalking. What you can't see stalking will turn you to meat at the flea market.
My favorite, by the way, is the over-exaggerated face you have to make when the white dude is actually rapping pretty well. There is Cole Beasley's album release party. Yeah. Why, is he supposed to be looking at himself up there in the corner? Like looking at young Cole Beasley? I mean, he ain't no professional rapper, but he ain't bad.
That is way, in defense of Cole Beasley, that was way better than I ever
There's
dreamed.
only one reason y'all put him up here rapping. There's only one reason the producer keeps calling him a struggle rapper, and y'all wrong for that.
Is it because he is...
You know damn well what the reason is.
Is it his haircut? Last name, Devin Booker. In the third quarter of the T-Wolves blowing out the Suns, Booker took exception to an elbow. Gorgie Jang threw his way, and a skirmish ensued. Let's watch the skirmish.
Rookie of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, hey, did he catch him with the elbow there?
Clearing space, gets an elbow.
Let's get a look here. That looked a little floppish, to be honest.
That did have the feel of acting.
And then he said something to him, and then they mix it up a little bit.
Yes, while they're down 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, that's typically when people want to fight for what it's worth. Here we go. Oh,
whoa!
Quick, and that looked like somewhat substantial.
Yes, that was a palm strike to the face.
So here we go. The fight's broken up. Jamal Crawford still in the league, playing for losers. You must love this game.
He's a leader.
Yeah, so here's Jang. He's all right. Oh, it's the meet me in the tunnel.
Yep.
It's the meet in the tunnel. So Devin Booker says, okay, he wants to meet him in the tunnel. And there is some Suge Knight aesthetic gentleman with the bald head and very big beard that was there to stop it.
Yes, Jang reportedly after this fought off 2 security guards, Bo, near the Suns locker room, and afterwards said, quote, in this league, a lot of guys think they are tough and they are not, end quote. Who would you take in this scrap?
I mean, I really don't have a lot of background too much on Gorgie Jang and his technique, though I would imagine that he has the reach under these circumstances. The other thing is I can't tell who wanted to fight the most, because 1-2 is the most important variable under these circumstances. Yes. So I'm going to go leaning toward Jang unless I get some more evidence.
I'm going to go leaning towards Jang because as much as Devin Booker's get-back coach that we saw at the end of that video seemed to be very enthused about his job, he also couldn't totally escape the get-back coach, so I hold that against him in a physical sort of dynamic scenario.
Did Jang get away from his get-back coach? And there were 2 of them? Like, did he get away?
But let's point out something about Devin Booker, now that I've thrown shade at him. We have seen him be very interested in fighting before.
Yeah, this is some wild stuff from TMZ. Something happened. They were in some building somewhere, and somebody got into some beef, and then they went and told Devin Booker, and then Devin Booker went and got the mask and the black hoodie.
He got a mask and a hoodie.
Yeah, you'll notice that other guy is wearing short sleeves. That is that guy also, and there's Devin Booker. And that dude realized that problems were on the way. Tyler Ulis was involved in this, too, and he stay ready because he 5'9".
Yes, but Devin Booker in the tactical hoodie will emerge from the bottom of your screen shortly. There he is.
There he goes. There's an arrow, so just for you. And there's, they were going. They was ready to fight.
And Devin Booker, by the way, is 6'6", 210 pounds, even if he looks 14
But we don't see any of the actual fighting there. What we know, though, is that his dad's from Grand Rapids. And, I mean, that's a start. But I don't know what he has to offer there. But once, can somebody actually get to the tunnel to have this fight?
Yes.
Everybody runs to the tunnel for the fight.
And put a camera there.
Whenever he gets there. Coming up next, Westbrook, Lillard, beef.
High Noon has a podcast. So does Bomani. So do I. Pablo leaves himself voice memos.
Sleep.
Clean to you from above the Heineken River deck at Pier 17.
I've made this point before, but this is real. We got a whole generation of kids who have never seen their favorite players fight.
That's true.
They have wiped this whole thing out the game.
Do you think the kids today would be, like, they would be shocked if they saw Larry Bird and Dr. J?
Well, yeah. I mean, poor Larry Bird. Got caught in that Nelson. Quote, I've been busting your ass for years. Said Russell Westbrook to Damian Lillard. Let's watch their interactions from last night, starting when Russ made Dame fall.
He doesn't get enough credit, as you said earlier.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, that's unfortunate. Just looked like he slipped.
Yeah. Cop behind
Oh, of course he makes that jumper, right? Like, that's your thought.
Efficient.
Then there's this.
Yo.
He's 30 years old, by the way, and still doing this.
Multiple knee surgeries, still doing this.
They made one of those.
It won't be an under the wrist.
Oh, Dave, like, man, no, you haven't. Pablo, Ken from New Rochelle wants to know, why Russ so mad?
Russ is so mad because this is who he is. He is a fascinating guy. No one dresses and dances younger while feeling so old. He doesn't have time for this bleep. He's too old for it. All these young dudes that we would imagine are worshiping at the altar of this patron saint of new and young, he just doesn't want any of the BS.
But the thing is, Dame Lillard is not really that much younger than him. Like, there's not this huge generational disconnect between the two of them. Russ, you're right, he is simply this guy. What guy? This guy. This is how he gets down. He is going to be surly from here on out. And part of what fascinates me about him is we don't know anything about this dude at all. He has given us nothing whatsoever. He could be the happiest dude in the world. We have no idea.
Correct. On social media, where we would imagine a guy like this might be so effusive and more expressive, he's quite controlled. We don't actually know his inner monologue. All we know is some mutterings, perhaps, if we have what he did to our friend Yusuf Nurkic.
Oh, yeah.
Next question.
Also, I love that my man with the camera was more concerned with the shirt.
Why not Westbrook?
I mean,
according to Yusuf Nurkic, that's his reply. Joel Embiid, by the way, ends up liking this on Twitter, all of which I'm sure is infuriating Westbrook, who's already beefing with Embiid, who said he was in his feelings.
But that's all you got is Westbrook. Really? Is that all you got? He just completely wrote you off. You're not going to get there with Westbrook.
This man does not care for the pro wrestling. He's actually here to dislike people.
Yes.
Next quote. I'm watching this kid Murray, and I'm putting away all the prototypes I once had. Said John Gruden, explaining that he no longer writes off quarterbacks like Kyler Murray because of their height. Bo, do you believe that Gruden believes what he's saying here? And could you see him taking Murray with, they got the 4th pick?
And I would just note that he just picked the Peterman up off the scrap heap. So apparently he's still adhering somewhat to what he thought previously as he was over the moon for the Peterman before that draft.
I thought as well.
Maybe he would entertain this possibility of taking Kyler Murray. Maybe he'd just throw it around a little bit. But this sounds a lot more like somebody who's trying to drum up interest in dealing that number 4 pick than it sounds like somebody who would actually take Kyler Murray, especially considering, I mean, we kind of sort of think they have a quarterback now.
We kind of sort of do in Derek Carr, but John Gruden, we have tape on him talking about so many other quarterbacks in ways that don't lead us to believe what he's saying here now. There is some Cookie Monster going vegan stuff here where he's like, you know what I'm really into these days? And you may wonder, why is he doing that? Well, it's because he wants to get more draft picks for that number 4 pick, presumably, because someone out there, whether it's the Giants or someone else, the Jaguars, whatever, they might look at this quote and say, maybe we were actually a little bit wrong on this guy.
Well, the thing is, though, and I don't think they're going to look at the quote. Like, he's not, what do you think? He's hypnotizing people? Like, he's out here, all these people are like, you know what? I wasn't thinking about Kyler Murray until John Gruden said so.
But if anyone were to be converted to be meaningful, genuinely, that.
But you think that's going to do it?
I think he is lying.
Quote. The NFL is investigating the suspicious green beam that repeatedly appeared on Brady's uniform, helmet, and skin. World Sports Illustrated's legal expert, Michael McCann. Let's take a look at the incident in question from Sunday first. Yeah, so yeah, you see the laser right there.
That is pretty egregious, even though nobody at the time saw it or noticed it.
I mean,
broadcast.
they're a little bit busy playing the biggest football game of, maybe their lives in some cases. But
Yes.
Pablo, how seriously do you think the NFL should take this?
I mean, this is serious. This is a thing that fans should not do. But in the spirit of full disclosure, Bo, I have to confess, like when I was younger, like laser pointers cost like $10. You could go to Chinatown right up the street and buy a laser pointer, and I would go up to my apartment on the 12th floor in Manhattan, and I would, I would shine it a little bit.
Why?
Not at eyes, because that's dangerous.
Why?
Because for $5, you had the power to project a laser. Laser. 12 floors.
You're not telling the truth. Why?
Science.
Why were you
Science.
doing it? You were trying to scare people.
A little bit.
And the problem,
A little bit.
and this is the problem, your 12th floor building in Manhattan didn't involve people who fight. There's some ways that we don't play. And one way we're not going to play is you put no colored dot on my head, on my chest, anywhere else. I wish somebody would have seen it, found you, went up the elevator and banged on the door, because you'd have had lemon booty like that. You'd have been so tight and so afraid because you knew you was wrong for that nonsense.
So statute of limitations wise, because I want to be clear in case this is still prosecutable, never shined it at a head, never shined it at eye. I would put it in front of their feet, because you can get little lenses.
Because if you're only going to shoot right in front of my feet, it's not that big of a
You
deal.
could get little lenses that you could screw on, and it'd be like a flower, or it'd be like a little American flag. Lasers, I just want to say that I understand how lasers can be an object that people really have fun with. I'm not condoning this.
Yes, you are.
I'm not condoning this. My parents warned me, like, you could blind people and all of that, and they didn't know about this either, by the way. My parents were not responsible.
Coming up next, did the Baseball Hall of Fame get it right? Because apparently the Torres got it wrong.
Am I going to jail?
The best college football writer in America wanted to make sure that everybody understood something he found on the internet last night. Randy Moss was on the debate team in high school.
And we need Randy Moss, our colleague, to verify this so I can invite him to the former debaters at ESPN Club. Do you think he'd join?
He doesn't watch this show.
Oh, is this me? I don't watch the show either, apparently. Today's number, 100%. That's the percentage of ballots that Mariano Rivera was voted on to make the Baseball Hall of Fame. Well, what does it mean that he's the first player to receive unanimity from the voting block?
Apparently he's managed to never even try to say anything interesting to those guys, because at some point someone would have had a grudge against him, and that would have been the reason that he did not get a vote. And it almost it's not his fault that they all voted for him.
No, it's not his fault.
But it is preposterous that this had never happened before.
Well, it becomes an indictment because, forget Jeter, talk about Babe Ruth, go down the list, Ted Williams, whatever name you want to throw out there, no one has got it before him, which makes, yes, him and Bruce Springsteen the only two human beings to be unanimously approved by this voting block, which is strange, right? This becomes strange, and it becomes about power. These guys have a power to shape history, and before now, they have always used it with bias in mind.
Yeah, they're still doing it now. But you said before now. Did something change?
Well, we now have a player.
Yeah, but I feel like there still implies a certain measure of bias that's at play here, because what we have is the quiet guy, the strong, silent type.
Dignified.
Yeah, we got all of those things, and so he wound up being that dude. My thing, though, from this is Andrew Jones got 7.5% of the votes this time. And guys, he's the greatest defensive center fielder of all time.
This is your mission.
The dude is at once criticized for being poorly conditioned, but played 150-plus games in center field for 11 straight years. And again, he is the greatest defensive center fielder that has ever walked planet Earth, Willie Mays included. Only 32 of y'all will put him on the ballot, and it's not because of what he was, it's because of what you believe that he wasn't, which was everything that you thought he was. But I feel you evaluate him, and by the way, his 7-year peak WAR is above the average for center fielders in the Hall of Fame, and that to me is perhaps more important than anything longevity-based.
Well, look at this! That's crazy. Willie Mays actually said himself reportedly, son, you may be the greatest center fielder I've ever seen. And if that's not an endorsement to take to the Hall of Fame above 7.5%, yeah, I don't know what you're waiting for.
Also, Kurt Schilling should be in the Hall of Fame, but I don't think he's going to send a tweet about that.
I don't think he watches the show either.
He does. In closing, here's something you won't see very often. Jay-Z in Pittsburgh, neither performing at a concert or picking up a brick. Yeah, that's right. He's at Pittsburgh is playing against Duke. He showed up for the game.
Yep.
Zion, you know, there's the whole Rock Nation thing. There's Zion Williamson. Jeff Capel said that the Rock Nation people had called earlier to line it up, and he said it was really exciting to have one of the greatest entertainers ever at your arena. Man, he ain't come to see y'all. You know damn well he ain't come to see y'all. You can't spin that.
Of course he did not come to see Pittsburgh, but they're going to try and spin this. They should put this on the cover of their media guide. Jay-Z at our arena, because he did seem to have a good time, but he was clearly there for an angle that was not Pittsburgh.
Second sellout of the year. The second.
In closing, I'd like to explore a truly unanticipated development in the world of dentistry. Let's watch.
What are you doing, Gabby? So nice. A little paw.
What rodent is that?
That is a rat. Rodentistry, in fact, if you want to connect those dots. But he has braces, notably. The rat is doing some stuff that as a former braces wearer, I gotta say, I never got accomplished.
Oh. Any more?
Look at that.
Never wash. A little soggy now.
What?
And this is most shocking because...
Because they have insurance? Clearly, because the kid has braces?
Well, that, but also because he's not alone. Because I was shocked at this as a New Yorker who sees rats as my enemy, as the cause of so many of the city's problems.
Yeah. Where do you get the rat from? That's all I want to know. Like,
you trade him.
Where do you find the rat that you trust to do this?
Look at this.
Highly questionable. Coming up next.